Many fans here in the chat.
Hello and welcome to the final event of the 2023 Euro Tour season. It is the Andalucia Open in absolutely stunning Chipiona, Spain. We're playing the Chipiona Parc de los Lagos course today, one of the more aesthetically pleasing courses on the Euro Tour. My name is Elias Luukkonen. I will be taking you through this round one feature card coverage. First up, featuring Dennis Augustsson, really hot player from this season. He has already won both his own national championships in Sweden and also European championships. Another exciting player to watch here, Lätt, absolute master of the forehand throw. Also has got other areas of the game pretty well down. He's a good putter, has some good backhand power. And talking about exciting players, one of the better players of the tournament, Jakub Semerád. Almost always at the top of the driving statistics. And if he can just get that disc in the basket, that has been his biggest problem this season. But if he can putt well, he's definitely gonna be near the top. And talking about putting, Miro Ryhänen, an absolute beast of a putter. It's quite rare to even see him missing a putt from inside the circle. That's gonna be challenged today, since we have a very windy day. Starting off the round on a really difficult hole. Hole 1, 139 meters, a lot of OB. Everything left side of this big path is OB until you come up to this grassy green area. Very long hole, and we actually had a tailwind here today.
We'll be grateful if you score also in UDs. I guess we send you the QR code if you...
Denk up first. For the left, it's a pretty tricky hole to get the birdie. And you can see Denko has turned it over to the left. That is going to be OB for him. Not an ideal start, but something you see quite a lot of players doing on this difficult starting hole. Silver also choosing the same spin throw as Dennis, going with the right hand forehand. And this is only playing for the par. He's not even thinking about the birdie. That's a well executed shot. He's gonna have about 35 meters. Pretty simple approach. Something you still have to be a little bit careful with, since the OB behind the basket is only a few meters away. That's really gonna be a theme on this course. The OB is very close on a lot of the holes. And quite often you would rather end up a little bit short of the basket. As we saw Jakub throwing a decent shot down there. Also not quite on the green, but well in play. And Miro, that's kind of the worst spot to end up on this hole. That huge bush on the right side. We're gonna have to see whether he even has a play from there. One of the biggest bushes I have actually seen throughout the entire season on any course. Dennis there leaving himself short around 10 meters. Might not end up being a problem for him. And as we see here, Miro got a pretty lucky break. Wasn't inside the bush, got a bit of a kick out and just able to jump out his way to the basket. Hole 1 playing really difficult, well over par with a 3.32 average. And yet it's still only the fourth most difficult hole of the day. And Denka there with almost a surprising miss. We have seen such strong putting performances from him throughout the season that him missing from 11 meters is almost surprising. As it looks like Dennis is going to lose a couple of strokes to the entire card already on this starting hole. Not exactly how you want to start off, but as I said, very difficult hole. And I suspect we're going to be seeing a lot of bogeys, even double bogeys, possibly even a triple bogey today. It's a very windy day. As you can see from the trees, drone footage obviously was filmed on an earlier day, but the wind is still very much up as we're moving to a really tricky hole, hole 2. 117 meters. And what really makes this hole is the tight tunnel right off the tee. It's only about 30 meters to the first gap from the tee, but the gap is very tight, and that Mando on the right side does create a bit of a pressure. There's that OB left on the cart path, also OB right on the other side. And look at this, Silver has found a way to break this hole. In the tailwind he's going completely over the top, but unfortunately for him there was a bit of a left to right tailwind, not quite a straight tailwind, but rather a left to right tailwind, pushing his hyzer shot to the right OB. And Jakub challenging the same OB. Let's see whether he stays safe. Looks like he actually does. Because on this course, actually, the curbs of the paths are always in bounds. Oh no, and Miro, that's a disastrous kick, hitting the Mando tree. He's gonna have a long approach to get up and down for the bogey. And Dennis as well, not even getting to the Mando tree. You could even call that a lucky kick. He's gonna have a chance to save par after a very high forehand release. He needs to get his game in check quickly if he wants to have a chance. But that has rolled OB. Terrible break. Paying back for the good break on the first shot, and he's gonna be putting for a bogey from way out. Good shot from Miro there. He's gonna have a bogey. And viewers, you can already see how difficult this wind is. At times, like right now, looks a little bit calmer, but I can tell it was blowing out there the whole day. Especially putting was super difficult. Jakub here, not believing my statement there. Wow, incredible spin putt. And he was in bounds off the tee, so he was just on the edge of that curb. I can tell you as a player it almost felt weird as Silver makes a good putt there. You might be completely on the road and even the slightest part of the disc being on top of the curb and you're called inbounds. As Dennis barely makes his double bogey there. That's a nightmare start for him, but I'm sure Dennis, as he's one of the mentally strongest players you're ever going to see, he's definitely gonna get over that. So that's some good scoring separation on the second hole. That's something we would expect on the most difficult hole on the course, playing almost a full stroke above par. And we're moving to another somewhat difficult hole. The drone footage here is slightly wrong. It's actually not from that tee pad, but rather a tee pad about 20 meters left and 20 meters back. So the shot is you're likely playing a forehand over the left side road or a backhand flex through these right side trees. as you would expect, the path on the left side is OB, path long is also OB, and the gravel area on the right side of fairway is also OB. Jakub here going for that right side, flat to hyzer shot. Beautiful. Perfectly done there. That right side play is so much tighter than the left side one. You can see Silver here has pretty much a nice straight open forehand, especially with his forehand abilities, just able to punch that fairway driver down there. And both of those guys will be very happy with those results. It's not one of the most difficult holes on the course, actually playing exactly at even par average. So it's a one you might want to get your birdie on, as Miro definitely will. Good bounce back after that bogey on hole 2. And let's see if Dennis can do the same. Going with his Firebird. Looks like a very potential road skip even. And look at that, just flying over the road and absolutely beautiful. Our feature card looking way more dialed than the last hole 2. Oh no! Jakub getting, it kind of hurts to say, but almost a signature speed out in these high winds, and the baskets that we're using on the course, while they catch very well, you might get some miraculous catches on the edge of the basket. Sometimes if you hit it a little bit too hard to the center, you have a very high chance of speeding out, especially with the windy conditions. There was a lot of center speed outs to be had as people were powering up on their putts. That's an unfortunate way to ruin the star frame there for the card. As we're moving on to one of the most interesting holes on the course. Hole 4. It's a par 5, blind shot off the tee. 318 meters. Players off the tee are trying to throw the disc as high as they can and as far to the left as they can. You're trying to get near the shore on the left. Where the drone is flying around the entire lake is a play that nobody is really taking, but rather players are trying to get to the edge of the lake, hopefully with a one shot off the tee. And if the first shot off the tee is not ideal, then they're likely going to pitch up with their second shot to the edge of the lake and leaving themselves with a 110 meter approach to the green. So this hole involves a lot of strategy, and you can see Silver just going with a massive hyzer, trying to get high and to the left. And he has ended up OB. Might have actually missed the Mando on the left, because there is one of the trees on the left does act as a Mando, as you saw in the pictures there, have to go right of that. I believe Silver might have been so high that he actually stalled out back on the other side of the Mando. The other players making some corrections, and Denka going OB. I have no idea where he could have gone OB there, because I don't believe there is OB there. I'm sorry guys, I'm even a little bit confused myself there, because it looked like all Jakub, Miro and Denka threw pretty okay shots. Silver here just having to pitch up. He's trying to get to the edge of the lake, as well Dennis as well. I know it's a little bit confusing on the video, you're not quite seeing the landing zone. You can see the lake there. These players are trying to stay just short of it, or in Miro's case, he's going big over the lake. Everything on the other side is inbounds, so it's a good play. And that's just a beautiful shot. He's gonna have a short approach for the birdie, only about 40 meters there. Very aggressive play. And even Jakub, being known as quite an aggressive player, he's still opting to just pitch up to the edge. And this is a tricky approach. You don't want to go too far, because then you're left with a death putt towards the water. And that is just beautiful, beautiful shot. There's only about 7 meters of space in front of the basket. So perfect speed control there from Jakub. And Silver trying to do the same. Important not to leave this short. As he does. That's a brutal miss there, and I don't believe he ever crossed on the other side. So Silver going to have to take it to the short side, and Denka as well. Looks like the missed OB graphics on the drives were actually for these approaches, just in a wrong time. Apologies for that. And Denka is not gonna have a very short putt, even for the bogey, I believe. As this is both Silver's and Denka's 5th shot. And Silver there, nice approach. He's gonna have a good chance to only card a single bogey. Good job there from Miro. Dennis. Let's see if he even goes for this. He does, and look at that. Even that soft bead almost going all the way to the water. Just showing how treacherous this green is if you're on the long side. It's definitely one of the most beautiful holes, especially after that blind drive. If any of you guys have ever played disc golf on Wii console, this is actually very similar to how some of the holes look. At least to me it was a big resemblance, as Miro there taking back-to-back birdies, pushing his score under par. That is something you're absolutely going to love to do today in the windy conditions. Even this is actually one of the least windy parts of the course. These early holes are much further away from the seashore that we're gonna see later on the round, especially during the back 9. And Jakub there, beautiful score of -2 through 4. That is an amazing start, and gives you some good leeway going into the rest of the round. You know, there's way less pressure if you can get those birdies early. And talking about birdies, this is one of the holes you definitely would like to pick up. Hole 5, 109 meters. It's pretty much, for the right-handed players, an open backhand hyzer. Only thing you have to be worried about is that road on the right side, which is considered OB. Also the bushes. If you stay a little bit right of the basket, you might not get over those thick bushes. So many players ending up a little bit left of the basket intentionally, trying to set themselves up with an open short putt. Miro has done that beautifully. Very good shot there. And he's gonna have a great chance to pick up a early turkey on this course. This is a little bit scary from Jakub. Needs to skip off the road. Just flies past it, and what a break. He has gone in between the bushes. Still gonna have a great chance for the birdie. With that, I believe to be a very late release. Similar thing for Silver here. He's actually skipping off the road. Both Jakub and Silver surprisingly doing the mistake of pulling it to the right. That is definitely the mistake you don't want to do. as Denka makes a great fix on that. He's gonna be well in the circle there. Both Miro and Denka with extremely short, easy, open putts for the birdie. You can possibly sense a bit of a vacation vibe, this being the last or the second last tournament of many of these players. There was a nice community, and oh no! First Jakub missing a silver, even getting a rare chain out on the right side. As I mentioned earlier, these baskets are catching very well from the side, especially if you have a bit of a slower putt. And we're gonna see two birdies, only two birdies on this hole. I'm sure everybody on the card would love to birdie this one, but they're gonna have to deal with pars. This hole being the third easiest on the course, averaging over a tenth of a stroke below par. We're moving on to an iconic hole, a true island hole. Not meaning that only the green is the island, but the entire hole is based on an island. One of the prettiest holes I have played in disc golf. There's a few plays on this one. You can go backhand hyzer on the right side, you can go forehand hyzer on the left side. Also some people trying to go over the top and even down the middle. It's really a dealer's choice here. Looks like Miro has got a mutant in his hand, going for that right side hyzer gap. He was a right to left wind today, so you can see that hyzer being pushed to the left, not able to slow it down, and he's gonna have a tricky headwind left to right putt, or left to right headwind putt there, excuse me. Denka on the other side, this hyzer will be pushed down by the wind, so good play there, but he actually hits the last palm tree on the left side. That's really the object to miss on this one if you're going for the high hyzer. Let's see if Jakub can keep this down. Much softer release there, but you can see even with that softer release going well long off the basket, showcasing that strong right to left wind. And Silver here throwing a suspect forehand just straight down the middle. It's a good play to fight that wind with that slightly overstable approach disc. What a shot that was. He's truly a master with that forehand. I would recommend anybody watching this coverage to just take a look at Silver's forehand. So effortless, such a quick, fast, efficient motion. The wind is strong, players not quite even able to commit to those putts to getting them high enough over the tray. It looks like Silver is going to pick up a stroke on the entire card. Very surprising there, as this one was tied with the last hole for being the third easiest on the course, averaging that over a tenth of a stroke below par. Definitely a hole you would like to pick up. Not many bogeys here, mostly just pars and birdies.
You almost see that this is coming back.
Moving up to hole 7, we're still teeing off from the same island that hole 6 was placed on. But this time we're playing to the mainland, we're trying to get over the pond. Hopefully move your disc far right. Most players are going for either a left-hand backhand if you're Dennis, or a right-hand forehand if you're Silver, or any forehand player. Trying to move your disc from left to right as much as possible while still getting that 102 meters off distance. Today there was a helping left to right wind, so this forehand hyzer will be pushed to the right, hopefully getting enough distance. And talking about enough distance, why would that ever be a problem for Silver Lätt? He's a far throwing forehand player, and that's one of the better shots we have seen on this hole. And Miro choosing the alternative route, a much tighter gap with that backhand hyzer, but he's not much of a forehand player himself. That is well executed there, just a left to right wind pushing it a little bit down, gonna end up short. And surprisingly, Dennis also going for the tighter gap, even more inside than what Miro was going for, but that's a good looking shot there. Again, just a little bit short. That wind not allowing the discs, once they start fading, to advance forward. And Jakub there also going for the tight gap, needs to get up. He's inbounds over the water, but not ideal. Some of you might have noticed that Miro was actually throwing from the soil next to the tee pad, and that was a choice from the tournament organizers because the tee pads, when wet, were quite slick. So the tournament organizers decided that they are going to allow players to throw from the soil to hopefully avoid any injuries caused by the slick tee pads. That was a great call. Overall, very nicely organized tournament. They didn't have a huge staff here, but very well done there from Dennis. Super good putt, just outside the circle. He's already had a roller coaster all around, but good to see a lot of that green number on the card. Silver here, just a formality for the birdie. Good start from him as well. All three of Silver, Jakub and Miro have started off strong here. I'm sure they know that they would like to collect as many birdies as possible in this early part of the round, because once we're approaching the final holes, the wind is truly going to pick up. And I would say the last 5 or 6 holes, it's all about surviving. We're going on to hole number 8. Another good forehand hyzer hole. There's that Mando on the right side, which is taking away the right side hyzer or flex play with the backhand. Most players either going over the top with a forehand or lefty backhand. Some players going down the middle with a low shot. I would say if you're going for the green, it is so much easier to go for that high shot if you have the power, that even some of the more backhand dominant players are actually going for a backhand turnover over the top. Very tricky hole, and that OB behind the basket is extremely close, only about 3 or 4 meters behind the basket. And Silver here, this is just a beautiful shot from him. Perfect hole for Silver, as he's comfortable with that high forehand hyzer. He's in the circle there, and Denka also gonna have that left hand hyzer advantage. Looks like he got it a little bit nose up, needs to keep going. And as I thought, it's a little bit short there. That is gonna be a scary putt, as the OB behind the basket even sometimes comes into play when laying up. Miro here going for a backhand turnover. Very difficult to control the distance here. Looks like he has done a pretty good job of it. He's gonna be there, I believe, on the grass. Should be in the circle. Great result with the backhand. And even Jakub going for that big wide forehand. Too wide though, and he has ended up in the water. That is a crazy result on this hole. The water is not even on play, or rarely comes into play on the left side. He must have just yanked that over with a bad anhyzer release. Pretty good approach there though, taking a bogey on this hole is not gonna be ideal. It's a very commonly parred hole, though playing surprisingly difficult as not many people were getting the birdie. Dennis being one of those people though. Beautiful putt there. Believe it or not, there was only 3 birdies on the hole today. And we have already seen 2 of them on our card. If Miro can make this putt, it looks like we're gonna have all birdies of the day on our card, and that is very much how it is. Surprising stat there. It's a long forehand, it's a long turnover if you want to go over the top. Quite difficult to get the distance, but only 3 birdies on the day is crazy. Jakub there dropping a couple strokes. Not what he was looking for, as he's trying to finish the front 9 still under par. We're moving to another very forehand friendly hole. Drone here flying down the middle. That's not the route that most players are taking. Most players rather trying to throw a skip hyzer forehand. A very low skip hyzer forehand on this left side path. Trying to take that aggressive skip towards the basket and hopefully avoid the left side OB. The whole path on the left is OB, and also the left side of the path is OB. So most players are putting some extra hyzer on the disc just to avoid going OB left. Silver there. That's a nice line. Needs to slow down though, as he's almost acing the basket. What a beautiful shot. Let's see if Dennis can replicate that. He's obviously going with a left hand. Backhand hyzer. Going even lower. Needs to get a good skip there. Wow, and Dennis. What are we seeing right now? That is 2 absolutely beautiful shots from the card. And Miro, he's actually one of the rare players going down the middle. And that was looking so good, just hitting the last tree on the right side. Luckily, not bouncing to the OB, but rather staying safe. And Jakub also a pretty safe looking forehand, not really challenging that left side road. And as a result, not gonna get a very good skip there. He's gonna be well short of the basket. Pretty good run there from Miro. And Jakub, he has a good putt for this distance. That nose up spin putt. Well, I was about to say that he often gets the distance pretty easily on his putts. Not the case there though, as we're gonna see 2 tap-in birdies on the final hole of the front 9. That's pretty good play, especially from Silver Lätt. Finishing with 4 consecutive birdies there. And Denka. Huge respect to Denka for, even with those 3 double bogeys, almost able to push his score back to even par. So that's gonna be it for the front 9. Silver Lätt and Ryhänen, both from our card, leading the field. That's some hot plays through the front 9. That is arguably the easier of the 9s, especially in this wind. Bunch of players behind there: Rasmus Tuominen, Lauri Hämäläinen, Matias Villota. Even your commentator, myself there, struggling in the top 10. You guys, if you want to see some windy disc golf, you should come back on the back 9. It's one of the most beautiful courses you're ever going to see. If you like that vacation resort kind of setting. Thank you guys for watching. You can support MDG on Patreon. And I'll see you on the back 9.